That's nothing to do with you being a Newbury Spark, that's just you being Northern.
He's singing, thinks he's a musician.
That's just the easy bit then. We're going to see how quickly we can do these downlights. So you can come join me in my chest hair in this room. Hi guys, welcome back. Part 2, where we're back here and we've got Dan from DMH Electrical. So he's just down the road in Darlington, aren't you?
Yeah, we're only half an hour away.
And he's very kindly reached out to me on social media and offered me a hand. So he's going to be doing the consumer unit today, and while he's doing that, I'm going to be running around doing the rest of it, so we'll just get straight on with it. This is very nice. I like it. I think this is bot smart. This rack in. But I dig. Ah, yes, extension screws. Beautiful. I just ran out. Awesome stuff. So these shelves here, I think, what is it? Is it just scaffold board? Yeah. We've got some LED tapes that are going to be going underneath. So the plan is, so router out there, along that shelf line, just a really thin line for the cable to go inside, and then router in the bottom front edge there, a little bit for the profile. So Johnny, Buff Duffield, is going to be getting on with that, and then we'll just come and solder them and get them all on. But the way it's run at the minute is it goes from the light switch, the load out to the light switch, up to here. There's cables coming out of the wall, and I will either bring them out through a brush plate, or I'll even put a socket and just label it low voltage, label it 5 amp. And then the drivers are going to sit on top of that, and then it just comes out of the driver down to each shelf.
So Corey supplies with a CP FuseBox board. He tells me he's used Bundy 10.
I have.
He has. I quite like them. We use these quite a bit. We were just saying to Corey that we've started using the Electrician click boards. Between them and the click, CP. CP every time for us, because we can't afford Hager.
Space it off a tiny bit.
Because have you got a spare tails gland in your van?
I have.
Because I'll probably tails gland the tails.
Yeah, tails gland the tails, definitely. And if you come in behind the DIN rail, then you can't see anything. You can just see all the earths coming up, all the neutrals coming up. Well, the neutrals coming up and over, lines coming up and over, and then all the fly leads can go up and round. So it's just like,
are these the Artisan secrets?
Drilling a few holes, yeah. I actually think I got this off George Sparky or Mark Electrician or someone on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, I got it from someone. That's quite a nice way of doing it. Yeah, or top entries also.
I was just going to go back anyway, to be fair.
Yeah? Yeah, I don't like those ones.
You know?
Because I find you can always still see the cables
see the
going
ends.
in. You can see them splitting off. So I like, if I'm coming back entry, I come in behind the DIN rail.
Put the lid on, Max, you can't see it.
I come in behind the DIN rail there.
Yeah.
Or if you're coming in the top, obviously maybe just a bit of 70mm trunk in and pop in. Oh, you haven't got a battery router. No. That's sad, isn't it? If you go to any of my boards around here, you might well come across them around Middlesbrough, Darlington, Sunderland, Newcastle. It was my old CMAC electrical stickers. Send us a picture when you find one. So if you're wondering why I'm putting a socket in this cupboard and not behind the appliances, it's because I want it to be accessible. And the trouble is, if you put sockets behind things, they're a right pain to access. And it also saves on fuse spurs, because you want to be able to switch it off to isolate it. You'll have to have fuse spurs, and then you end up with more fuse spurs for appliances than you have for tiles. So what I like to do, if I'm going to do fuse spurs, then I'll have like a fuse spur bank somewhere, or like a grid switch with all the isolators in it. Or I'll hide the sockets in the cupboard next to the appliances. I'll get the little desk tidy, 70mm hole, and pop the cable through it, you know, with the little disc thing on it. I'll put the link to that in the description below. That can be tool of the day, even though I don't even have one on me today to put in. And then the plugs can just pull up through that and plug in. And if you want to unplug them, it's just a lot easier and a lot less mess and a lot less maintenance and less wiring for the installer. Just for me, an all-round win, kind of the only way to do it. Okay, so I'm going to bring the plugs up just next to it there, but one thing is this wood gums up, the glue in it, well, it gums up your lungs, but it also burns out your hole saws really quickly. So something I'll do is just drill a hole there next to it, and it just allows heat to dissipate a little bit better when you're doing it. And I'll do the same thing again, just about there. You'll see it will drill a lot less hot. There you go. So then I can just line those up. So much quicker and less hot that got. It just makes the hole saw last a lot longer.
So while Corey and everyone's been in the kitchen doing sockets underneath the cupboards, I've been screwing away in what is the smallest cupboard. So far I've only banged my head about 10 times. We've spaced the board off. Used some bits of 25mm conduit there because they are going to take this all the way through and dot and dab it along with the ceiling. So it should be about right, I hope. So I'm going to start dressing the board in now, get the RCBOs in. I guess we'll check back later on, see how far I've got, and then we'll get Corey to review it. Obviously it'll be 5-star, I imagine.
To give you a bit of context about Dan, he's a new build electrician.
Which isn't bad.
Which is not a bad thing, no. So it basically means he's extremely fast, and he has challenged me. He said that, well, there's been a lot of shade thrown, and I don't, to be fair, same with Nick Bundy and the arm wrestle, which I hope we can cut that in just here.
Just dragged him, like so.
I can't tell if you're playing with me or not. Rest. Okay, no. No. No.
I've got nothing to prove. In fact, you've got everything to lose here because I don't claim to be that quick. But I think you have your nervous wee. He needs a nervous wee. The comment was thrown out that he would like to race me, Jordan, and Ruben and Lee together with one camera, with him on his own. So we're going to see how quickly we can do these downlights.
Yeah, we're going to try and get you up for a new build first fix, aren't we?
And it's got to be a good, like, obviously, it's got to be neat, like the same standard. That's nothing to do with you being a new build spark, that's just you being northern. Right, you ready? Tools down.
Contenders ready?
Does someone want to give us like a
3,
2, 1? And when we go on go, not on 1, yeah?
Are we having Le Mans start from the front door?
Yeah, we have to go, we have to open the van, we have to get out the van, get our tool bags out, and then run in and race. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, he's winning.
Oh man, I'm nervous now. Oh, no! Oh, I cut through it.
Oh, there you go.
What a beast.
Have you got one on?
Maybe.
Oh, he has as well. Oh, no.
Just saying, you threw shade. You forgot who I was. You forgot who you were dealing with here.
Oh.
Boom. All right, I've already planned my acceptance speech.
You've absolutely smashed it.
I'd like to thank all the companies that trained me. I'd like to thank Johnny and Anna for the good food. I'd like to thank him for bigging himself up so that it made me look better while I won. I'd like to thank the South. I'd like to thank Cornwall, Norway, why not, while we're at it, thanking people and thanking nations. Yeah, it means a lot. Thanks for coming.
What I'd quite like to do is that one not work when we turn it on.
Yeah, that would be quite funny actually, wouldn't it? Or if you could have stitched me up big time and just switched that circuit on and blown up my cutters. You do have to present your thing as well. So that hob is just an ignition. So that can just be on a plug top, but I think I run it in a 10mm just in case they ever decided to put anything bigger there. That cable just comes straight out. That's the flex that comes with that oven. I'm going to put a plug or something behind there just to connect that up.
Pull this back down in behind the oven.
Yeah.
Drop a 10mm off of this and onto a cooker wedge.
Yeah, could do.
So basically I've ended up with all the rubbish jobs. Corey originally ran a 10mm over from the board, which I've just put on, to here, which is this one. He then ran another 10mm from here, down to the hob. Well, I was saying, Corey, we're never going to get a 10mm, well, 2 10mm, plus the cooker flex in the back of it. So I've chopped the 10mm off that goes to the hob. I think what I'm going to try and do is put a plug top on for our hob, because it's only a 3A fuse for the igniter. And we're going to take the socket back off, which Corey's put on, and spur off here, down the back, and we're going to try and get a socket in here, which we can then fish this round and plug our hob into. So instead of the hob being off the oven circuit, it'll be off the socket circuits.
So you can come join me in my chest here in this room. I'm going to start looking at the heating controls. So the plumber's just done a temporary job on it. I mean, he says it's a temporary job. I reckon the plumber was probably finished with it. Knowing plumbers. Hey, between trade banter. I'm a tradesman now. So it probably looks complicated for the old apprentices and things, the old apprenti. But actually it's incredibly simple. And this is probably quite a good at heating system to explain it on. So what you have here, this is the manifold for the underfloor heating. And these are actuators. And they're electrically operated. Let's open this up and I'll show you. It's a 2-core cable. And it's effectively a switch. It actuates with an electrical current. So when it's given a current, the little spring inside will open up or unscrew or whatever. I'm not sure what movement it is inside of there. And let water pass through, open up the system. At the minute, it's just set to a plug so that you can literally switch it on and it will come on. But what we want to do is we want to use the switching of this. So what we'll have is you'll have your switch live, and I'm not actually sure on this one, probably satisfied. And what that would do is it will kind of let this regulate it. So when your 2-port valve opens up with a call for heat from the boiler, it will turn on the pump down here and open up your actuators so that all happens at the same time. So that your pump turns on, the actuators open and it goes out. But this is a good example of showing you how it works, because if you wanted to, you could literally just do it like that. Power it all up. As long as it's all powered up at the same time, it will come on and it will work. These will open up, the pump will push water through it. But all we're doing is using this 2-port valve effectively as a switch, and then there'll be something, probably this here, I'm not sure what heating controls they've got yet, but whatever they've got, it will be pretty much the same, whether it's a Nest or just the Valent ones or whatever. All it is doing is being the controller to switch the switch live on the 2-port valve. It might not make sense if it's your first time looking at it, but if you're already trying to learn heating systems as an apprentice or whatever, hopefully that clears it up a little bit. There's no need to get tripped up when you come to an underfloor heating system. They are literally no more complicated, no different to any other heating system, except for every zone. Say there's 2 zones, it might be that that goes off to one thermostat and that goes off to another thermostat, or then when the switch line comes on for that, I want it to open up the actuator for this one, and then whilst that actuator opens up, if that's the actuator for that valve, I want the 2-port valve to open and the pump to come on, the boiler switch line to kick in. Or if it's for that valve, well then when that cable says it senses a call for heat by a thermistor or whatever is in that thermostat over there, that will send an electrical signal back to here, which will then open up this actuator for that zone, open up the 2-port valve, put the switch line on for the boiler, turn the pump on. It's actually really quite simple. So something I do if I'm doing switches, because sometimes my writing will rub off, whenever it's a switch, I do 2 slices rather than just cut it flat. So I know even if my writing rubbed off, I would know that that's a feed, that's a feed, and that one there is a switch. So if you're feeding the switches, it's a much easier way of doing it. So just when you're first fixing, just in case builders come and get plaster or whatever on there, 2 little slices, I'll just cut the line wire twice, and then even if it rubs off, I know when I come back, that's my switch.
So another thing, Corey's started and finished. He's in there, he's singing, thinks he's a musician. Started the cooker hood and left it, so it's another thing for me to start to finish, but what I have done is I've got some free Wagos, so cheers. A fuse spur on it, so we can put a fuse in it and fuse it down for this.
Right.
Yeah. And then what we'll use is we'll use a little cable grip on the back of the fuse spur that I had in my van, just to hold the flex into the bottom of it. So like I was saying, we've taken the ring, which is obviously our 32 amp RCBO back at the board, which Corey was quite silly and I had to pull him on it. I'm going to wire our flex straight onto it. What we've done is we've taken that. We'll take our 13 amp fuse out and we'll put in a 3 amp fuse, which will give us our cable protection for the flex. And the only downside is slightly, if it ever does blow, which it won't, because I've done it, you do have to take the entire shroud off the cooker hood. But we do need that protection on the cable.
Oh, rats smell horrendous. When you're ready, you can just literally hammer that clip in. So that's just in Wagos, and then when you render the wall and whatever, I can sort it a bit. I think that's it.
Oh, LED strip. Oh. LED strip in that socket above the cupboard.
That's just the easy bit then. Alright, so mark out what tape we need and just cut it on the lines there, like so. And I'm going to tin the wires. In fact, I'll tin this first. So I'm going to heat up the copper pad. And never blow it. If you blow it, it will go murky. You need to let it air dry. So now this end, you really don't want much on show. Literally 2 or 3 mil is plenty. A nice thin CSA solder. And then same thing. Heat it up. Okay, so we've got about two or 3 mil of wire on there that's been tinned, and this obviously has been tinned already now. I think it's just not getting hot on the tip, just the edges. The edge, the minute I touch it, it melts, which is what you want, because really you want to be melting it at like 300 degrees. I don't want to be this hot. So what I'm going to experiment with, I'm going to turn it right down and just try and do it on the edge, but it's annoying because I wanted this to be really nice and neat, especially it's on camera, you know. But I'm just going to have to try and do it with the edge of my iron, like that. Absolutely not my finest soldering work. Beautiful stuff. Right, let's get some heat shrink slipped over that. All of the electronics guys are going to be absolutely dying watching this, throwing things at their telly, but it's solid, it pulls, it's tight, it's safe. So now I've got that on. I'm just going to put a teeny tiny bit of heat shrink over it. Please, Jordan, if you're watching this, buy me a heat gun. Cool, so there we go, that's all soldered up nice and tight. safe day went?
Well, I got shocked twice because I asked Corey to turn the power off. I kept him right with the fuse spurs. I moved a socket that he wired in the wrong place. I finished off just about every room that he left bits in behind. It's been alright, it's been a laugh.
Yeah, it's been, yeah.
It's been good.
I liked it.
And I've got to thank everyone for the hospitality and the tea and the food.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
The shocks were just to keep you, it's good to keep you humble.
On your toes.
Life is electricity, isn't it, at the end of the day? It's all electric, if you think about it. A humongous thanks to Dan from DMH, who's smashed it out of the park. Definitely could not have done it without him today. I still would have been here all night getting finished. And it's an awesome result as well. So if you want to find Dan around the Darlington North East area, his links are in the description below if you like the look of him or if you like the work that he's done. He's married. No, just if you like the work he's done. Then find his link in the description below. And thanks, like and subscribe, and see you next time.